A reflection on teaching perspective inventory (TPI) for the course EDP 8 6001, presented by Mary Lou Adams Joseph. Firstly, transmission. This philosophy represents the mastery of the subject matter and how it is delivered to students. It determines how clear, efficient, and timely learning objectives are made. Good teachers create enthusiasm through the delivery of the lesson. The next philosophy that is taken into account is apprenticeship. This demonstrates the skills of teachers' understanding of their students' capabilities and the act of directing them when needed for learning to be optimized. Teachers are responsible to guide students to become independent learners. Thirdly, we look at development. For anything to be built, there must be a solid foundation in place. Education is no different. Implementing constructivism is developed through scaffolding techniques. Good teachers achieve this through interaction in many ways, such as good questioning and using realistic examples in their teaching. The fourth perspective is nurturing. This is the encouragement given by teachers that drives the success of their students. Motivation is key for students, and when in this environment, it creates and promotes learning. Lastly, we take into account social reform. This is where teachers relate topics' importance to life and its practicality. Through discussions, the purpose and goals of topics are revealed. In teaching, it is important to stop and reflect and see how our methods of teaching can be improved to increase the understanding and the responses of our students. It can be seen from my scores that my dominant perspective is nurturing with the highest score of 40, followed by development with the score of 39, transmission and social reform both having a score of 34, and my recessive perspective is apprenticeship with the lowest score of 32. The two highest perspectives, nurturing and development, are both above the mean value of 35.8. All other values are below the mean value. This confirms for me and my TPI's view that the individual should be the key focus and should not be discouraged by failure. Although transmission and social reform are both below the mean level, it is not below the recessive level, which can still be considered my backup perspectives according to TPI. So this means that teachers should always encourage critical and higher order thinking skills in students to achieve mastery of subject content. TPI also measures each philosophical view according to beliefs, which is what you believe about your teaching and learning, your intentions, what you try to accomplish in your teaching, and also your actions, what you do when you are teaching. As shown in the pie chart, the percentages all range from 24% being the highest with nurturing and the lowest 15% with apprenticeship. My variation of instruction does not coincide in relation to the learner's level of understanding, and I am in total agreement with this outcome because I have a degree in teaching for secondary mathematics, but I taught at a primary school level for 10 years, many between the ages of 5 to 7. I was challenged because I had to go back to that level of instruction, because at 5 years old, the conceptual understanding is everything. But this also assisted me in my nurturing perspective, because at that age, children are the most loving and they look up to you as a role model, sometimes even as a parent. On this pie chart, it can be seen that development was the highest score with a value of 24, and social reform and transmission both having the low score of 17%. This is because, as teachers, we don't just teach subject matter, we teach for life. And a good teacher understands and knows exactly how to reach their students. Finally, actions. This section for me speaks volumes since it tells me that I act consistently through all 5 perspectives, with all percentages being either 20% or 19%. I believe that a teacher should be well-rounded in her actions, and although TPI states that all perspectives cannot be achieved, at least teachers can aspire to achieve all 5 perspectives. I believe that the TPI results are consistent with my actions, since when completing the questions, my thoughts were based on 2 groups that I teach, one ranging from 13 to 17 years with a class size of 3. In that group, there was a comfortable environment, there was a lot of accessibility to technology, so that this accommodated close interaction and very close relationships. So I was able to understand and design my lesson towards their liking. Versus the group between 5 to 7 years old, the class size there was a lot larger, being between 25 students to 30 students at times. This age group was not, the environment was not conducive to learning. Also, the accessibility to technology was non-existent. But this age group really helped me in my nurturing perspective. I was able to care for them differently. And that group developed my nurturing perspective a lot for me. So my teaching goes beyond the classroom, but also extends to help students deal with struggles and challenges they face. I believe that the TPI fails to consider several important factors in the test, such as subject area, accessibility of teaching resources, social environment, and also the age of the students being considered. How can I be a better teacher? Through TPI, I have realized that my recessive perspective apprenticeship needs some work. I believe that this was so because I have been in a new school for only 2 months, so that the zone of development for my students have not yet been recognized. Also, social reform can also be encouraged through applications to more real-world examples. Also, transmission of content needs to be clearer, and I also need to express more enthusiasm in teaching my lessons. So I believe in all that in developing the relationships, I would understand the students what they like, what they dislike, and this will also help in my enthusiasm because I would know how to reach them. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. How